Hello, everyone. I'm Joe Mandilli, head baseball coach at John Jay College, and today we're going to talk about infield defense, and we're going to discuss the basic fundamental building blocks to fielding a ground ball while we're in the infield. Now, I'm sure a lot of different coaches approach this in different ways, and a lot of it is going to be similar, and sometimes the lines of communication always get skewed because two coaches could be saying the same thing at the same time. So it's always important that you have a streamlined communication between you and your players, as well as how you interpret that information that they give you feedback on and that you can give them feedback on. So we're going to look at a little PowerPoint presentation and we're going to cue it up. And so here are our fundamental checkpoints. This is what we start off with at John Jay every day when we talk about our infield defense. Our building block is our athletic position. So once we start off, that's the position that we want to be in. Our feet should be slightly more than shoulder width apart. Our hands, I always equate them to like having like two water bottles in our hands. So we should be in this and almost like a thumbs up position. And when we approach the ball, our glove's going to be a quarter turn. So a quarter turn to turn it into a fielding position. And our other hand can kind of come over the top to navigate how we need to be. So next step is our pre-pitch movement. And we want to make sure that we're always moving before the pitch. Super important that that we stay in motion. We don't want to end up flat-footed or stagnant. So when we're in that athletic position, you're going to need to implement either a sway hop or a creep and a pop. However, whatever's comfortable for you and whatever your coach and your player want to do, that's fine. There's multiple ways to do it, but you need to make sure that you have some type of pre-pitch movement in your setup. Now, the pre-pitch movement is done when the ball is on its way to the hitting zone. So the hitting zone is the point where the ball can be made contact with by the hitter. So slightly before home plate. And then as you get older and as you get better, and at the college level, what we want to do is we want to anticipate where the ball is going to be able to be put in play. So it's important to know the pitch location, to see where the catcher's setting up, if you can see his signs, to understand what pitch is coming, maybe it's a breaking ball, and then who's up in the lineup, if it's down in the order, up in the order, depending on what the scenario may be. You always want to work on reacting to the pitched ball. So if, for instance, I'm playing shortstop and a pitch is thrown and a ball is fouled off down the right field line, I want to make sure that I react to that. Same thing on the opposite side. If I'm playing second base and the ball's fouled off down the left field line, I want to make sure that I react to my right on that. And that'll incorporate a drop step, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But it's super important that we pay attention to how we're going to react to the ball once it's put in play. And as we get better at it, we'll be able to anticipate. So a great time to work on this is in batting practice. You don't have to do every single one. Maybe you're getting some ground balls in between the repetitions of batting practice, and you're going to field those balls, but some of them you're going to be able to play live, or maybe some of them you're just going to work on watching what the ball is doing on its way to the hitting zone. And you can kind of take that step. So what I always encourage guys to do is think about being in a circle. And you want to make sure you get in and out of the circle on every other pitch in batting practice, because sometimes that does tend to speed up on times, and we can't do every pitch. We want to make sure we're taking some pride in our preparation so that we can make sure that this happens. So our next step is our transitional breakdown. So once we approach the ball and how we break down. So as a right-handed thrower, I'm going to make sure that I go right, left, down. I'm going to bend two knees at the same time. We don't want to create that collapsed knee feeling. Where if the ball maybe takes a hop on us, we're not going to be able to react to it. And we want to make sure that our knees are bent at the same time, because we want to create momentum moving towards first base. So first base is to everybody on the field's left, okay, except for the catcher. So think about that. If I'm playing shortstop, I'm breaking down. I want to go right, left, down, and then I'm going to create my extension as I field it. My right, left is going to then come through as I transfer the ball to throw. When I transfer the ball to throw, I want to make sure that I can get my hands in a position where I'm creating this extension where my butt is down and my hands are out. And when I do take that right foot through and replacing it where my glove is, I can get up to my throwing slot, which in a four-seam grip. So I want to make sure that I field the ball left of center. And like I said, first base is to everybody's left on the field except for the catcher. So that's why we want to make sure we field it on our left side eye. Some people probably hear that expression, but again, left of center. So we can keep our feet moving in the direction to gain ground, so we can have some velocity behind that throw, and we can keep our feet moving. We want to stay athletic and want to stay in rhythm, which is a super important thing to also remember. And we want to make sure we keep our eyes below the ball to read the hop. I'm sure some people have probably talked about maybe counting the hops, reading the hops, keep your eyes below the ball. All those things are important. It's basically the same thing, except it depends on how you interpret it. So sometimes I'll count hops, and I want to make sure that I get the hop that's coming to me rather than the hop that's going away from me. And that's going to help me stay in rhythm as I move towards in the direction of first base, or maybe it's second base that I need to make that throw to. Because when I'm catching the ball, when it's coming to me, that hop, rather than going away from me, I'm able to stay in rhythm and I don't get broken so much. So here's a quick video basically explaining that on how we would take a look at how we would look at breaking down that right, left, down, and then a right, left throw. And then we'll reset and we'll do it again, right, left, down in slow-mo and right, left throw. And we do the part of our warm-up every single day after we throw. So the infielders will get in a line. We call them their walkthroughs. They're kind of isometric drills, and we have these for the catchers. We have these for the position players, outfielders, and so on and so forth. But this is the first one that we'll do in the infield, and it's basically just a basic repetition of how we're going to control our breakdown, field the ball, create the extension, field the ball on the left side of our body, and work through. And this is a ground ball that's hit straight at us. And there's more on my page, basically getting into those drills in a little bit more in-depth look. So the next step is our backhand ground ball. So same thing, athletic position, pre-pitch movement, super important. Okay, keeping the ball in rhythm as the pitch is on its way to the hitting zone. Want to stay on the balls of our feet. So once, like I said, once that ball is put into play, we're going to drop step and we're going to cross over. Now the drop step is important because you want to make sure you create an angle. If you go straight at the ball, at some point, unless you're perfect, it's going to go by you. But when you take that angle on a 45-degree angle on your drop step, you're going to create that angle that's going to allow you to either make a V cut, pivot through if it's not hit that hard, or you'll be able to come through the backhand maybe with a little bit more steam on your throw, or you'll be able to ride the backhand if it's a smash. So that drop step creates the space that allows you to play out in front of your body using your eyes to see to make your way through once you catch, transfer, and then throw. So that crossover step is what will keep us moving towards the ball. So it's a drop, then a crossover step, and then we're going to break down and field. I like to keep my left foot slightly open. Okay, it allows me to transfer my right foot through after. I always want to try and do my best to play through the backhand and come through the backhand. So my right foot would plant, so my left foot would go down. And again, I would stay in rhythm. We're never going to take two right steps, just like when we fielded the basic ground ball. We're never going to go two right steps before we take a left step. Just think about the way you walk. It's always right, left, right, left, right, left, or left, right, depending on which way your cadence of walking is. So the same thing when we field, we want to make sure we stay in rhythm. So I think the hand position is key on the backhand. Sometimes you see guys don't get the glove all the way down and the ball will go through. Sometimes they're not centered and the ball can take a hop and it will deflect somewhere. And errors are going to happen. Fields sometimes are not the best here in the Northeast. All those things are going to definitely happen to come into play. So a little trick that I learned along the way in my travels as a baseball player is to create a thumb down in a C position, and you want to have that elbow slightly relaxed, so to use it as a hinge. So that C on the backhand is going to allow you, when you put a glove on your hand, you're going to end up in that position where the C is the web. So if you can do this with no glove, and then when you put the glove on, you create the C, and we'll talk about that a little bit down the road in drills, such as short hop series that you can do with and without a glove. The ball is going to end up in your webbing, and that'll allow you to play through your backhand. Again, using that elbow, not so stiff, not so high, keeping it at a good reference point so that you can come through on your backhand. And you'll see that in a second in our video. Glove out front. Another trick I like to do with those short hop drills when we're in a more of a static situation, maybe on a knee, isolating ourselves away from the movement of our lower body and just focusing on our upper body, is I like to keep my trail eye closed as a drill with my guys. And what that does is if I let the ball travel too far, with my trail eye closed, I'm not going to be able to see it. And it's going to mean it's too deep. So same principle would apply of the ground ball that we're going to field and it's straight out in front of us. If I let the ball get too deep on me, I'm probably going to kick it, or it's probably going to go outside my sight of vision. So again, reading those hops, seeing the ball is going to be important as we field it. So same concept applies on the backhand. You want to make sure that when you do have your breakdown, your thumb is creating that C, your glove is out in front, past your trail eye, so that you can play out in front. Now, again, if your glove starts to travel a little bit, I can't see now, and I'm losing my depth perception. So I want to make sure I keep it out in front. We're going to see that applied on the forehand side as well. So on the transfer, we want to transfer, drive through, and follow through with a high arm slot on our backhand throws. No matter where you are, when you do go to your backhand, most likely you will be in, unless it's a unique situation, maybe a slow roller of some sorts where you're playing through, maybe at third base or even at first base where a pitcher's covering, then in that situation, you're going to need to go with a flip. But for the most part, anytime you do go to the backhand side, a second, third, and short, you're going to end up on a high arm slot. So here's a video breakdown of that. So here we are with the drop step, pop, crossover, pre-pitch movement. See how we're going to play out in front. We're going to drive through, get into power position. And here it is one more time. So our athletic position, pop, drop, crossover, glove on the ground, and we're going to play through. And this is in slow-mo right here, where we're going to be able to have a little freeze right there. Boom, head down, glove is out, trail eye, just for the purpose of the drill is closed, and we're going to work through power position. Again, remaining athletic is the key. So forehand and glove side ground balls, athletic position, and your pre-pitch movement. Once again, we hit on the first two steps. We're going to drop steps similar to the way we just did on our backhand side of things. We're going to create that 45-degree angle. And once we go to break down, our right foot's going to be planted. We're going to get our left foot out in front. Again, using the C as well. So when we have that C position on our glove on our forehand side, we're going to come through. We're going to fight the front side, and we're going to get through it. So I always emphasize the use of the C. Again, use it in the short hop drills. Use it in your isometric type drills when you're doing your walkthroughs and so on, just to make sure that your hand's in the correct position with a relaxed elbow, and that keeping that trail eye closed, same concept as we talked about the backhand, keeping the trail eye closed is going to allow you to play out front. So field, transfer, and drive through. Our teaching point is to fight the front side. This is the one where you're going to see maybe it's the second baseman going behind the first base bag in the 4-hole to his left. Really has to fight the front side to get underneath, to get to a throwing position. Shortstop, think about coming up the middle, fighting that front side to keep that front elbow closed and on target to where we need to throw the ball to first base. Third base, same concept, maybe going in the 5-hole to our left, cutting it off, and then fighting the front side to do it. Now, sometimes you'll see guys at third base, and maybe they'll spin around, but again, you still have to pick up your target and still get that elbow back on track with your throwing. Because there's two parts to every play. We got to field it, and then we got to throw it. So here is the demo. So we're going to pop, drop, 45-degree angle, fight that front side, get out in front. And again, this is the third step in our isometric walkthrough that we do every day to get ourselves into a proper fielding position. Dry with no ball. So here we go in slow-mo, crossover, plant, right foot, drop step, right foot drives through, replaces the glove, and we get into power position. And you can see the elbow is closed, weight is balanced, elbow is above the shoulder. If we can get to that position, a lot of times when we do go to the forehand side on the field, our arm slot is going to be down a little bit. Okay, it's not going to be straight over the top. So important, you heard me talk a little bit about an arm slot. I call this the arm slot rule. So left side infielders, so third base and shortstop, the closer one gets to second base, the lower the slot's going to be. Okay, because you're going to be coming across. You're ranging more. You're going to be in stride. You're going to use your upper body, your lower body to get your upper body in rhythm to throw. So sometimes we see a situation, and you probably will feel it more so than anything else, where your lower body may be in position to throw, but your upper body has not caught up to it. Think about a pitcher maybe that's releasing the ball not in line with his stride. Maybe his arm slot is a little behind, or he's releasing it too far out front, where his foot is saying, his lower half is saying hit the ground to throw, to plant, and his arm is already ahead of him, or maybe it's behind him. So the same thing would happen with our infielders, where when we go to our left or our right, that would happen. So the closer one gets to second base, the lower the arm slot, and that's going to allow us to keep our lower half in rhythm, to get our upper body in line to make the throw. So the further one gets away from second base, the higher the arm slot. And we talked about that on the backhand side of things earlier. So if I'm a second baseman and I'm going up the middle and I make a backhand play up the middle, I'm going to have a high arm slot. And Backing up, same thing would apply if I'm at second base and I'm going into the 4-hole. I'm going to go to a lower arm slot. And the same thing would apply at shortstop, backhand in the hole, whether it's a smash or even a slow roller where I can V-cut and come through. I'm still going to want to stay on top of that. So the further away from the second base side, the higher the arm slot. So right side infielder, second base and first base, the closer one gets to second base, the higher the arm slot. Okay, so again, using my example that I just used earlier, second base, getting closer to second base, backhand over the middle, you want to go to a high arm slot. Second baseman going into his left in the 4-hole, you're going to use the lower arm slot in the forehand side. The further away from second base, the lower the arm slot. Think backhands and forehands. So just exactly what we just talked about earlier. So practice, implementation, and progression. I think working at being a better infielder is something that we can all do that, and it's more than just taking fungos and repetition. There's a progression to this. Just like when we have our throwing progression, we start off a certain way. We're going to want to finish a certain way. We need to do that when we talk about defense as well. There needs to be a progression. If we don't know how to add 1 + 1 that equals 2, it's going to be really tough to do mathematics when we get down to it. So same concept here. Basic infield walkthroughs for all infielders. I have a video for that. You can check that out as well. Daily short hop series to implement the in-hand positions. That is super important. You got to have good feet and you got to have good hands. So working with and without a glove, you can do the same things. You can get on a knee, make sure your butt is pushed out, and that you can create that extension of getting your hands out front, playing it out in front with a good eyesight, and making sure we're working through the ball at all times. Sometimes, yeah, we're going to have to maybe funnel or something like that if it does come, but we want to try and make sure we're working through the ball at all times. So when we go on a knee, the goal is to eliminate the lower half. So sometimes I like to have our guys start that way. We don't do short hops in a fielding position. We do our short hops eliminated with the lower half and on a knee. We like to try and basically cut us off at the half and work on our hands and our eye position and our glove position. I think that's important. Whether if we're using a glove or maybe it's the first series, we're not going to use a glove. We want to make sure our hips are sunk, that we're in line so we can get below the ball. We want to create that extension, and we want to play through the baseball. And we don't miss picks. So these little drills, I think at first, guys, it kind of does get a little mundane, but our whole thing is we don't miss picks. Picks are done all over the field. Think about short hops from the catcher on a throw down to second or third on a steal. Maybe it's a pickoff attempt from the pitcher to the first baseman or the catcher, a play behind. All those things. Maybe it's a short hop throw from the outfield that doesn't give us the nice long hop or in line throw. We're experiencing picks at all, short hop picks all over the diamond at any point in time, and we need to make sure that we're in a good position, because if we nail 2 or 3 of those each game, it's probably going to save us a run, save us a base. It's going to put us in a much better position to be successful defensively. And I think about the counter side of that, where how many times do we get called safe on a throw to second base because the catcher short hop the infielder, and the infielder had to move his hand up to go get the ball? Or maybe it's a throw from the outfield, like I just said. So there's so many times. I think it's just the law of averages there. We want to just put ourselves in a good position. It's a great rallying cry for the guys too. Whenever there's an amazing pick that's made, everyone yells out of the dugout, like, we don't miss picks. So I think that's an important pride factor that our infield unit takes to heart when we look at this. Positional sprints is another thing that we've implemented defensively in our pre-fungo routine. After we go through our isometric walkthroughs, then we go through our short hop series, and the third thing is positional sprints. So these are game tight movements to bases with situational awareness on the field without the ball. So we're no fungo, no nothing. We have our infield is lined up with their positions. Maybe we're 2 or 3 deep at a couple positions in the infield, and we're just playing the mind game with ourselves, where we're going to create the situation. So maybe it's backhand down the line at third base. So we're going to create pop drop, get to the line. Sometimes we'll even create the dive to make sure that we're getting a step and a dive to the line. Maybe we're in a no doubles defense. We need to prep. Or same thing goes to the 4-hole. Shortstops will do positional sprints to cover second base on steal attempts. So will the middle infielders. Both our middle infielders, sorry, second base as well. Hit and run recovery for the shortstop and second baseman, where you break to the base and then you do the, oh, shoot, I got to get back. So hit and run recovery is important as well. So all those are part of our positional sprints. We have some fun with it. We kind of throw in some new things all the time to try to keep those strip art guys moving around. And then our next step would be fungos. So this would be our daily routine. It would take us anywhere between roughly 10 to 12 minutes dedicated after our throw to get to fungos. And then we'd have a whole fungo routine when we come down to that. So here's our walkthrough demo. This is us doing a practice. And we're just, the whole group is in a line and we're doing it and we're kind of coming through, we're coming up. So that's just a straight basic one. And then here's another walkthrough demo, the opposite side of it to get the opposite view. The guys are feeling crossing over in the forehand position. So that's how we would do that with our walkthroughs. So here's a short hop series demo. So you can do these at home. Obviously now we're in a situation where we may not be able to partner up. But this is you can do this if you have a wall, if you have a squishy ball, throwing it against a wall in your room or a door or a wiffle ball or something, just to get that done. I'll let that run through again. And we do our short hop series as partners with no glove, and then we'll do them with a glove. But this is the routine that we usually do. We usually do 2 sets of 10 each side. So like I said, it does take some time to do it, but I think it'll be well worth it in the end. And I think the guys will start to take some pride in that routine as well. And the great thing is you can do this on your own. You don't need to have a partner. Unfortunately, in our current climate, you don't necessarily need to have that. Demo, I encourage you to check out the other videos on the defensive side. We'll have more postings as well. There'll be a part 2 and hopefully a part 3 to this series as we continue to post. And I wish you all the best. Thank you for watching.